coming to the States to fight against Terrence Crawford in a similarly significant fight?
Yeah, so basically I love fighting in the States. I've had some big performances here, and I wanted to be back over here again and to put another big fight on. New York is one of my favorite locations in America. So when this fight was put to me, and it was going to be a big fight, it was going to be a pay-per-view fight, I decided to, take this fight with both hands and make sure that I can make sure that if I'm going to take this fight, I'm going to win this fight as well. So that's the reason I decided to take this fight. I mean, I spoke to my team, and my team might have been a little bit, they didn't agree with me as much, but I was like, look, this is the fight I want, because Terrence, breaking down the fight, Terrence is a very skillful fighter. I always do well against skillful fighters. This is going to be like a game of chess at times. His legs come forward, he does punch well, and does like fight as well. So then, he's got the best of both worlds, and no one's like the same weight as me. I mean, he's going to be, I thought I went a bit more, so I'm probably physically the bigger guy in this fight. I'm physically the guy who's been in the 147 division longer as well. So I've got that advantage on my side, whereas normally I'm the smaller guy fighting these bigger guys. So I think that's definitely going to be on my side. People
Amir,
Yeah,
go ahead. Sorry about that. I thought you were done.
People might feel, that, from my last performance against Vargas, I'm going to be the same. But I know that was a very bad performance. It was just not me. I know I had to just go in there and win a fight. It's hard to motivate yourself against guys where you're supposed to win, because all you have to do is turn up there and you're going to win the fight, because you got the better skill set and everything else. So in this fight, this is what I have to do in my A game. I have to make sure that I can't make any mistakes, and I have to go into this as an underdog, but prove myself and win this fight.
Amir, was any part of your thought process in taking this particular fight, and I'm saying this based on my understanding that financially it's about the same for both fights. You would have made a lot of money for either fight. So was part of your thought process, I can fight Crawford, have an opportunity to fight on a big American pay-per-view to win the welterweight title against a top opponent in a place I know you like fighting, New York City. And whatever happens, if you win, if you lose, whatever goes down, if it's a draw, that Kell Brook is still going to be a fight that's in your back pocket that a lot of people are still going to want to see, regardless of the outcome of April 20th.
Well, I don't know if that fight's still going to be there. I chose this fight over that fight, and I know that I've seen in numerous times in the media Eddie saying that the fight's literally dead now, it's not going to happen again. Look, who knows? Time will tell. I'm taking this fight step at a time, fight by fight, and let's get this fight out of the way first, and then we take it from there. Look, that fight might never happen, or it might happen. So I'm just taking every fight as it comes, really.
Understood. And let me ask one question to Bob. Hey, Bob.
Yeah, Dan.
Bob, when you were and everybody at Top Rank was looking for an opponent for Terrence to fight in this spring time frame, was Khan sort of at the top of your list, or did you have to sort of go through and see who was available, or was he, because he's got a big name, he's got a lot of accomplishment, he's got a fan base. How did you guys go about deciding that let's target Khan to make an offer to, as opposed to any other fighter in the welterweight division?
Well, the first thing is, what's the best fight we can do? And I have always been an Amir Khan fan. And I say this without, not because I'm promoting him in this fight, but I remember back in the day, years and years ago, when Amir Khan joined Manny Pacquiao in his camp and was a tremendously skillful sparring partner. Amir knows we were, I think, in the Philippines. He participated in that camp. And so I know a little bit about boxing. I'm not one of the matchmakers who really are tremendously skilled, but I've been around over 50 years in this sport, and I know what makes a good fight and what's a competitive fight. And I'm telling you that Amir Khan against Terrence Crawford is a hugely competitive fight. Styles make fights, and this is the first pay-per-view of event that we're doing with ESPN, and we value tremendously our relationship to ESPN, and I want going in and at the fight, so going out, everybody to say, hey, this was a great, great fight. And I really believe that the fight will be a tremendously interesting, competitive fight. And that's why we made it. That is the truth. That is why we made it. There are other fighters that, other welterweights who are coming along and may one day step up and fight for a welterweight champion. I'm sure they will, like the Eastern Europeans, Sputin and Kavaliauskas. But this fight, instinctively, I knew, and my matchmakers agreed, was a very, very competitive fight. I mean, you have to understand there are very few fighters who have the boxing skills of Amir Khan. Very, very few. So I look at this as a very competitive fight.
All right, thank you very much, Bob. Appreciate it. Thanks, Amir.
Your next question is from Carlos Toro.
Hi, thanks Amir and Bob for taking time to talk to us. My first question for Amir is that, you said New York is, one of your favorite boxing home, and it's been the site of a lot of your big wins. Does fighting in New York kind of bring back any special memories, whether it be the fight against Paulie Malignaggi or just overall gives you more motivation to perform well because it is such a big market?
Well, I got married in New York City, so I think that's a good one. And then obviously, my in-laws all live in New York. I spend a lot of time over there. But not only that, my first fight in America was in New York City at the MSG, at the smaller one, at the smaller arena they have. And that was a great performance against Paulie Malignaggi. And that was my entry to America. So, this is another big fight here. And when it was New York, I was like, yes, because I walk around the New York city, and I've met so many fans who have always said to me, why don't you fight in New York again? Like, all your fights are normally in Vegas and in LA, in that side, the West Coast. And I'm like, okay, one day I will come back to New York. And I think this is the time now where I come back for a big fight and to give my fans and the people of America another big one.
Amir, Crawford, as you mentioned, you spent more time as a welterweight than Terrence Crawford. Have you had a chance to sort of look at Terrence Crawford's two fights against Jeff Horn and Jose Benavidez? And if so, what did you make of Crawford at 147 pounds so far?
I'm never a good fighter. Look, I can't take this lightly. This fight is going to be a tough fight, and he's a very, very good, skilled fighter with power. So with decent power. He's durable. He moves well, boxes well. So for me to win this fight, I have to be on my A game. I can't make any mistakes. But he's still. I'm not going to say I've read. This is what I read on the media. People saying he's quite new in the welterweight division, but I don't think he is. You can see he's a quite filled out welterweight fighter. For the welterweight division, I think he's at the height and everything. He kind of moves into it quite well. So I'm not going to go in there thinking I'm stronger, I'm bigger, I'm the physically bigger fighter. I'm going to go in there and use my skills to win this fight. My skills is what's going to win the fight, not the size, not the power. And it's about being my IQ and my skills for this one.
One last quick question for Bob. What was the thought process of sort of making this fight into a pay-per-view? Was it, the matchup itself, or was it a sign where, Crawford, his fights on ESPN television drawn incredible ratings and record-high viewership? Was it a matter of simply, this was the time regardless of the opponent, or simply the matchup warranting a pay-per-view event?
I'm sorry. It's really a combination of both. It's the matchup that warrants the pay-per-view, and it's also because it's such a big fight that, this is professional boxing, and the fighters have to be compensated because it's such a big fight. And therefore, you cannot rely on a network to constantly come up with big money as a rights fee. So if the fight is big enough, you have to then go to the public and say to the public, hey, this is a terrific fight. You have to support the fight. Now, sometimes the public says no, but, you know, if we have confidence in the event, they'll say yes. So that's really what it's about. We can stop playing the games of whether a fight should be pay-per-view or shouldn't be pay-per-view. The first question, is it a really good matchup, really an interesting event? And then secondly, is it affordable on regular television? Can a rights fee support the fight? And in this case, we have a splendid event, and we have fighters who have to be and should be compensated for their performances, and therefore you go to pay-per-view. That is the mindset. Everything else is noise.
Thanks, Bob, and thanks, Amir. Thank you.
Your next question comes from James Bell.
Hello, this is James Bell for the Boxing Source, and I have one question for Amir Khan. You've been talking about coming into this fight being the underdog, but you've been familiar with big fights over the course of your professional career. Like, how does, having that familiarity and that experience kind of like factor into this particular fight, as you might not have to worry about all the media coverage, press coverage, and stuff like that leading up to this particular fight?
I've been quite lucky where, from my first fight as a professional, I was the main attraction on television. I had all the media, the big press conferences, I had the conference calls and everything. So I had a lot of media attention from day one since I turned professional. And, I've been going 14 years strong as a professional, and still I've had big media coverage, and I've had that kind of pressure on me. But I've learned how to cope with that pressure, and how to deal with that pressure. And really now, when I go into a fight, when I go into a fight, I always make sure that it's not on my mind. And I'm nice and cool and chilled out. It's the last thing I think about with all this pressure. And also, one more thing I want to say, listening to everybody, is that Crawford, there's a lot of talk about Crawford fighting Spence just come off the fight. And, I mean, all the people that are talking about that fight, he's got his hands full against me, because I'm not just a number. I know when I have to turn it on, I have to turn it on. And, in maybe previous fights, I've won the fight, but I've not maybe looked the best. But because I know that I really belong a level above. I'm one of those fighters that if I'm fighting a guy who's supposed to be at the top of his game, then that's going to bring me to the top of my game. So it brings the best out of me. If Crawford's talking about Spence, maybe that fight happening and overlooking me, I think he is going to be having a big shock. So I hope he's going to be ready in this fight. He's been hurt by, we've both been hurt in fights, but he's been hurt by guys like Gamboa. I'm a fully fledged welterweight fighter who hits hard in this welterweight division, and I've got good knockout percentage. I'm an unbeaten welterweight fighter. It's a weight where I feel comfortable at, and it's a weight where I feel stronger as well, and I've got my speed, I've got my movement, and I've got the perfect size. Whereas the other weights maybe might have been a little bit too much for me, going up to when I fought against Canelo. That's maybe putting on too much. But even that fight, I really think I was winning that fight. When it comes to boxing skills and being smart and knowing that I couldn't make any mistakes. Obviously, I got caught with a good shot, which probably would have knocked out any welterweight fighter, in that fight. But this is where I want to maybe tell everybody that, look, I'm not just a number, but I'm just going to come into this fight and make numbers or make a night of boxing. I'm coming to win this fight.
All right, thank you.
Your next question is from Benjamin Black.
Yeah, hi, Amir. Just a question for you. You talked a little bit about fighting in New York and having been married here and having family here. How much of the venue at the Garden, played into your decision to take this fight over Kell Brook, and maybe just talk a little bit more about the home cooking of New York, and maybe if any kind of advantage you think that gives you.
New York is a very chill place. I mean, reminds me of London, and I love the place. I've been spending a lot of time there. And also the MSG is probably the mecca of boxing, where you've got you've had all the biggest fights from the early 80s and 90s. I've been there, so I want to be amongst them. I want to be amongst those big fights that one day when I'm walking my kids, because I'll be spending a lot of time in New York, and I'll be walking past this arena and pretending the kids, look, your daddy fought there, So, I mean, it means a lot to me. New York is something I'm always going to be attached to. So great that the fight.
Your next question is from Cameron Buford.
Hey guys, thanks for taking the time to talk to us all. Amir, I appreciate it. I got a couple questions. Some of the guys answered my questions already. Speaking of Madison Square Garden, and maybe that is, maybe it isn't. What is the most impressive venue you fought in?
So I fought in a few. I mean, looking back to my whole career, I mean, I fought all over. I'd say the Madison Square Garden, this will be one of the best ones I will ever fight, because it's the mecca of boxing. There are some huge fights there, so this will have to top all the venues I fought in, and also to get a win there would be even more amazing. And if I were title, it's probably one of my biggest fights of my career. So I'd say this will always be number one. But then, I fought the MSG, not the MSG, sorry, MGM, which is in Vegas, and also T-Mobile. So I've had the opportunity to fight in big arenas. I also like in New York when I fought Chris Algieri at the stadium, what's the stadium called? The big soccer, the big basketball stadium in New York, in Brooklyn. Barclays, Barclays. I fought the Barclays as well. So I've had the opportunity as a fighter to fight in all these different locations. So MSG will be up there as one of the best, I have to say.
Okay, I'm sure they appreciate hearing that. You talked about kind of getting your mindset before the fight, kind of having your mind right. And how is it that you find to chill out before the big fight like this?
I've been in the game for quite a long time, 14 years fighting, and 10 years fighting at top level. So you just kind of learn as time goes on. I'm getting older. I'm 32 now. I'm not no spring chicken where I'm still young, I'm still learning. I've learned everything I needed to. I've got the experience. I've done this numerous times. I know how to deal with everything now. I know when to rest and when to talk and when to do things right. So, it comes with age, it comes with experience, and I've been quite lucky to be in this position for the last world-class level for the last 10 years.
Okay, I got a couple more for you. You mentioned about Crawford not overlooking you as an opponent, and not saying that you might be overlooking Crawford for your opponent, but we all have to look forward. After beating Crawford on the 20th of April, would you see yourself fighting Spence, or would you be wanting another fight before you got to Spence?
Honestly, I've never ever looked past fights. I made that mistake when I was young, and all these things that are going right. But to be honest with you, I'm just going to take every fight at that time. There's a lot of big fights out there for me. There are Spence's, there are Kell Brook. There's big fights out there for me. Now, it just depends how long I want to be in the game for. I've always said I want to retire young, and I want to enjoy time with my family. So let's see. I mean, those fights can happen. But like I said, I'm just going to, after the fight, hopefully the press conference, or so we can talk about it.
All right, we have to move on to the next question that we have to take.
Your next question is from Tony Boone.
Hi, Amir.
Crawford is a right-handed guy, but he's become more comfortable fighting at the southpaw as he's gone on as the champion here. You have an extremely great record against southpaw fighters. I guess, first of all, how do you expect Crawford to approach your fight? And I guess, how do you kind of counter what he's going to do, knowing that he prefers to fight southpaw now, even though he is a right-handed fighter?
We're working with different guys in sparring. I've got different guys who are coming that need some are switch hitters, some are guys who are southpaw, some are orthodox. So I'm not leaving anything behind. I'm working with both guys. If Crawford wants to fight me southpaw, then so be it. If he wants to fight me orthodox, so be it. So we can be ready for whatever he brings to the table. I'm not leaving anything behind on this. I don't want to go into the fight and think, wait a minute, I didn't expect this, you know. So I'm going to make sure that I've done everything right, and I've learned every little bit from my training partners.
All right, next question.
Your next question comes from Daniel Canubio.
Yes, this question is for Mr. Aram. There's a lot of speculation on Twitter whether you write your own tweets. We saw yesterday you reached out, you sent a tweet about Crawford and Spence, and you tweeted at Al Heyman, and a lot of people say, Bob Aram doesn't write his own tweets. He doesn't know how to work Twitter. I just thought you would set the record straight for us.
Well, the people who think I don't work Twitter, we all work Twitter. Even the President of the United States uses Twitter. So, yeah, I work Twitter. I think it's a great service. You can say a lot of things on Twitter, and fans read them and respond. Sometimes they like them, sometimes they don't like them, and sometimes they say the most horrible things in response to them. But I think it's a lot of fun, and it is the modern way to educate fans and to reach fans. So yeah, I'm a big Twitter fan myself, and I use it very often, and I like to do at least 3 or 4 tweets a week. So yeah, I plead guilty to writing my own tweets.
So that's probably the only time you've ever agreed with the President of the United States that Twitter is a great tool.
Well, that's really true, but I use it better than he does.
All right, thank you. Hey, and well, thank you, everybody. After a brief hold, Terrence Crawford will be joining us on the line. Thank you. Thank you,
Amir, and we'll be seeing you soon.
Thank you very much, guys. All the best.
Yeah.